Excellencies, Swiss representatives and friends, Croatian compatriots, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for the celebration of Statehood Day of the Republic of Croatia, which falls 30 May and commemorates the constitutive session of modern Croatian Sabor, after first democratic, multi-party and inclusive elections had held already 35 years ago, in 1990. The following year, in June, at a referendum, 94% of Croatian people voted for independence and proclaimed it a few days later. My generation was privileged to witness those historic moments, including, unfortunately, the war of aggression against Croatia, which followed. The first war in the midst of Europe after the Second World War. I am proud that I myself, after the ceasefire negotiated in January 1992, volunteered as Croatian liaison officer for the European Monitor Mission in charge of observing the ceasefire along the delimitation zone near Zagreb. I have seen the destruction, the wounded, the displaced people, and understood that diplomacy and military strength have to go hand in hand to secure the future of peace. The decision to proclaim full sovereignty and independence on 25 June 1991 was motivated by the legitimate wish for freedom and democracy, but was also based on Croatian historic right stemming from the medieval Croatian duchy recognized by the Pope John VIII in 879 and the Croatian kingdom from the 10th century. History matters, and although we are proud Republicans, we are also proud of our roots. Therefore, the Croatian Parliament proclaimed 2025 as the year of the 1100th anniversary of the Croatian Kingdom, namely, after the extinction of Croatian royal dynasty of Trpimirović in 12th century. For almost 800 years, we have lived together in several multinational kingdoms and empires, shared the rulers and interests with peoples from the Baltic to the Adriatic, preserving an important, although formal, autonomy of Kingdom of Croatia, Slavonia and Dalmatia until the unfortunate year of 1918. If any nation was used to live in peace and collaboration with others within the wider state unions and wider common borders, it was Croatians. The only issue was how to be treated as equal, participate at the relevant decision-making process, and preserve our national identity. Such concerns are legitimate also today for many, especially smaller nations, in the international system, as we are unfortunately facing the deterioration of the multilateral rules-based order and the neglect of international law. Therefore, we feel much better being part of the alliances like NATO from 2009 and European Union since 2013, and rely on mutual solidarity and shared values. This does not mean that we are not eager to cooperate with other constructive, friendly, and peace-loving countries around the globe and engage in diplomatic dialogue and trade, bearing in mind Croatian interests, but also the interests of our allies. As Croatian Army Day is approaching, let me share with you that Croatian defense spending has reached 2% of GDP, and just recently the 12th Rafale combat aircraft has arrived to complete the acquisition, crucial of our Air Force. We intend to increase defense spending to 2.5% and more until 2027. Also this year, we will mark the 30th anniversary of Croatian military police Operation Storm, which was crucial for the liberation of occupied territories in Croatia in August 1995, but also to stop the carnage in Bosnia and Herzegovina, preventing another Srebrenica-like tragedy. Without the Operation Storm and sacrifice of Croatian defenders, but also Croatian diplomatic action, there would have been no peace conference in Dayton and Rambouillet, and no peaceful settlement in Bosnia-Herzegovina and in the region. Today, Croatian immediate eastern neighborhood is still exposed to instabilities, and unfortunately, progress towards the European integration is much slower from the expected. Croatia is especially supportive of Bosnia-Herzegovina's Euro-Atlantic path, the country we share with a 1,000 kilometers long border. Also, Croatian people are a constitutive nation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they should be treated accordingly, although this remains a huge challenge. Croatia will remain in solidarity with Ukraine, which is the victim of terrible aggression, and we will assist Ukrainian people in all possible ways, especially in the post-conflict recovery and demining. The peace in Ukraine has to come as soon as possible and should be based on the principles of the international law. Croatia appreciated very much the efforts of Switzerland in convening the Burgenstock Conference as an important first step towards peace, as well as the conference on demining in Lausanne last October, since the expertise and technology of demining is very high level in Croatia as well. Croatian economy is doing well, with a 3.8% of GDP growth in 2024. Prospects for more than 3% for this year, and the debt to GDP ratio is expected to decline to 56%, which is the result of continuous efforts to hold and control our state finances. The inflation has finally fallen to 3.4%, unemployment is low, around 4%, and the greatest challenge is the lack of workforce and brain drain. Therefore, the government encourages the return of Croatians from abroad, including from Switzerland. Last year, some 800 of our citizens returned to Croatia from this beautiful country, either for retirement or even younger people willing to settle back to their homeland. Croatians have been contributing to the Swiss society and returning this hospitality in different ways. Let me just remind you of the two scientists of Croatian origin, both awarded with Nobel Prize in biochemistry, the first from ETH in Zurich, Lavoslav Ružička, awarded in 1939, and Vladimir Prelog in 1975. Ružička also donated a most valuable collection of Dutch paintings to the Kunsthaus Zurich, which I'm sure most of you have seen already. Further back in history, Dubrovnik-born papal legate Ivan Stojković, Johannes de Ragusa, presided over the famous Basel Council in 1431. After his diplomatic mission to Constantinople, he returned to Basel with a huge library of old manuscripts and books, which was considered as one of the most important libraries north of the Alps, consulted by the prominent European humanists like Erasmus, for example. Today, it is stored at the University Library in Basel. Basel, the city which hosts and organizes international events since so well, from the Basel Council in the 15th century to the recent Eurovision Song Contest. Congratulations to our Swiss hosts. Želim ovom prilikom zahvaliti svim Hrvaticama i Hrvatima, našim udrugama u Švicarskoj, posebno hrvatskim katoličkim misijama na čelu sa Fra Antonijom i hrvatskoj nastavi na odličnoj suradnji i očuvanju hrvatskog identiteta, jezika, suradnji sa Republikom Hrvatskom, ali i sa švicarskim domaćinima. Croatia is looking forward to continue expanding excellent bilateral relations with Switzerland, bilaterally and in multilateral fora, but also in the context of the European Union programs and cooperation. This week, together with Swiss Embassy in Zagreb and my dear counterpart, Ambassador Urs Hammer, we will host Croatian Association for Artificial Intelligence here in Switzerland and make some plans for the future in that area. We are working also on some high-level visits as well to keep up the good rhythm that we have. And I am pleased to announce that tomorrow in Geneva, in presence of Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, Croatia will inaugurate a monument, an artistic sculpture, in front of the WHO to honor one of the founders of WHO, Croatian professor of medicine and public health, dr.Andrea. Dear guests, our reception would have not been possible without our kind sponsors